Yo, what is up, guys? Shinobi here, back again with another video for you guys. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with more. Well, I don't know what to call this. I'm gonna be real. This is more like anime awards kind of thing. But I saw some snippets of this, and apparently they confirmed that the anime awards was rigged. They confirmed the shit. Like they literally went on a panel that we're probably about to watch right now, and confirmed that the anime awards basically was rigged. And I saw the clip, but I want to show you guys specifically because there's no way. And I knew there was a reason why Solo Leveling was out there winning all these awards for no damn reason. I knew something was up, bro. I knew something was up, and it was already looking shady after the JJK thing. But yeah, here we go. Let's go ahead and get straight into this. That's why it's crazy though. Like I knew it. I freaking knew it. But let's go ahead and get straight into this. Let's get straight into this because I knew it. I had a feeling.
I was a judge this year. You want to know what my experience was?
For clarification, this is Glass Reflection, one of my favorite anime content creators. He has been in the game working with anime for way over a decade, since the early 2010s. I remember watching his videos before I even was an anime content creator. He knows what he talks about. He understands anime. He understands the culture. He is definitely very informed.
Also, keep in mind that Freerin won the Anime of the Year award in Japan. Keep that in mind. Keep that info in your head when you're thinking about the Crunchyroll awards. Because I had a feeling. And I think the Crunchyroll awards, I think it's based off of, before he goes into it, I think it's all based off of what brings in the most traffic during that time, or basically money. It's like a money, or like it's like a popularity contest. It's not really if the anime is good or not. Versus like, Japan, where they actually have the judges judge and everything like that. And from what I've heard with the Crunchyroll awards this year, it's like they didn't even try, bro. They basically just said, yo, what was popular at that point in time, and said Solo Leveling and called it a day, bro. It's actually criminal, which makes the robbery that Bleach got even worse, bro.
Informed about the anime industry. If there's anyone I definitely can understand or believe in what they're talking about, it's definitely this man right here. And this is his experience as a judge for this year at the Crunchyroll Awards, and what he had to go through, and why the results turned out like it did. So let's let him speak here.
Yeah, nah,
My
this is
experience was, hey, here are our categories these years. Here's the rough criteria, which is the same, and then it's been for every year. Sure, fine.
Oh, good. It's not like they announced that publicly.
And then it was like, okay, well, here is my choices for these. Previous years, we've ranked them. There was like points to be assigned and things. This year was just like, what would you put here? And then that made the nominations.
They didn't have numerical rankings. You didn't rank. You didn't assign points.
They just had.
Oh, there was no round two.
There was no round two.
No, they just collated your submitted. Oh, that's terrible. Wait, what? They just collated. They asked the judges to submit nominations and then averaged out which ones had the most.
So basically, they all basically said, okay, Solo Leveling is airing right now. It's really popular. Kids love it. The kids love the aura farming. We're going to just nominate an Anime of the Year. There's no rank system, no nothing. There wasn't even a conversation, bro. They basically said, yo, this anime is looking like it's doing good right now. The second season's out right now, so it's just, like I said, it was the Aura Farming Awards. It was the Aura Farming Awards. I freaking knew it. Like, bro, the moment Ninja Kamui won an award, y'all should have already known what was up, bro. And then Bleach losing Best Action to Solo Leveling. Really? When Solo Leveling Season 1 only had one good fight in it, and it was the same with Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer had 8 episodes in that season that they had, and only one of them were good. Only one of them. Only one. The last episode was good, but you're telling me that beat out One Piece and Bleach? I called it. I freaking called it, and it feels so good, because people have been talking about how the Crunchyroll Awards have been on some bullshit this whole entire time because of what happened with last year in JJK. And now we have an official confirmation that these people don't rank shit. They just basically go off of what's popular and just say, oh, that's Anime of the Year. No judging, no nothing, bro. Oh my god. Like, the Crunchyroll Awards, it's a joke, bro. The shit is a freaking joke.
Nominations.
Let's get...
Do I need to explain what's bad with this? Like, it is absolutely soul crushing. Just how incompetent.
Like, this just makes it even better. Like, this just proves that when it comes to judging in anime awards, only the one in Japan actually matters, bro. Only the one in Japan actually matters. Because keep in mind, the one in Japan, Freedom was number one, and Solo Leveling was 322nd. Like, out of all the anime that were ranked, Solo Leveling was put 322nd, and Free One was number one for anime of the year. Keep that in mind. And then you got Crunchyroll glazing the fuck out of this ore farming show that had one good episode that everybody glazed and try to put that as anime of the year.
Of a company Crunchyroll really is. Like, I already have talked about them in so many different ways and how just they are as a company. But this is really just, it reinforces everything that everyone has talked about, to Crunchyroll being more corpo, to Crunchyroll lacking communication, for Crunchyroll not really listening to people, for Crunchyroll to just, like, trying to pat themselves on their own back with some things, like, for instance, Soul Leveling winning. Just everything about this just reeks of just incompetence, poor communication, and corpo. It's not a good look. This is legitimately not a good look. And the fact that you have your judges, Glass Reflection, talking about his experience and how he didn't get an actual vote and it was just nominations is insane. Now, I do want to go on record and say this. I was told by an anonymous source that some judges did get a second vote. Now, I'm not going to name drop who told me this because I don't want to get them in trouble, but they are a very credible source. What I'm trying to say is that it's clear this reinforces the poor communication. At least from this perspective of what Glass Reflection is talking about, he was unaware, was never even told that he would get a vote before the voting went public for the anime awards. While some judges...
And I guarantee that's because they already had their mind made up. I guarantee that's because they already had their mind made up that they were going to have Solo Leveling as Anime of the Year. Because once again, a lot of the reason why Solo Leveling won Anime of the Year, according to Crunchyroll, is because of Solo Leveling Season 2. It wasn't because of Season 1. The only thing that people talked about in Solo Leveling Season 1 was the Igris versus Sun Jin Woo fight. Meanwhile, you had Bleach and One Piece going crazy. Freerun was going freaking crazy. You had all these other anime going absolutely ballistic. But then Demon Slayer, Solo Leveling, and Ninja Kamui won awards off of one good episode. The rest of it, either decent or mid at best. But one episode is what won them the award because that's what brought more traffic to Crunchyroll's website. It's just that one episode that brought people in, and that's all they cared about. Once again, people have been saying for years that it's just a popularity contest, and this just proves it. And it also proves another thing that, unfortunately, well, I don't want to say unfortunately, because people can like what they like, you know, but it's one of them things where people don't base the anime or the anime community at large. I don't think that they base the anime of the year based on the whole anime anymore. Like when it comes to like writing, story, characters, all that. Like the anime award these days will only go to the one who aura farms the most, the one that got the more flashy lights and all that. That's what people care about more now these days, or at least the younger side of people. I would say the more older side of people, they actually care more about the story and whatnot, which is why you see a lot of kids mostly talking about who cares about writing versus the adults who are talking about how Freerun was good because of the writing, the side cast, the characters, the story, and everything else. Like, you can clearly see the two differences of priority when it comes to anime. One's more focused on only just the action and nothing else, whereas the other side's more focused on the whole. And once again, this is not hating. This is not me telling me other people how they should like their anime. This is just me explaining how this whole entire thing got to the point where it's at right now in the first place. At least when it comes to Crunchyroll and this award show in specific, and just America in general when it comes to anime. Overseas is completely different, as we've already seen. Like, once again, Japan, completely different. Freerun just absolutely stomped. Solo Leveling didn't even make it top 100, so... yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we all knew it. We all knew it, but it is what it is.
Were able to do a second vote. So whatever happened there, clearly some bad communication. That is the initial bad starting point right there, is just very bad communication. However, what this entire segment here paints as a picture, even if we disregard that fact, it paints a picture that the voting process for this year was stacked against not just the judges, but just anyone that remotely watches a lot of anime. It
Basically.
legit is everything that everybody criticizes and memes on about the Crunchyroll Awards. It's a popularity vote.
That's it.
This has obviously been...
Your anime can be dog water, but if you got one good episode, you're good. You're winning anime of the year. Like, imagine if Boruto, like for instance, take Boruto, the anime was terrible. I don't know about the manga too much, but the anime was terrible. Imagine if Boruto came out right now around the same time as Solo Leveling and all these other anime, and they had a bunch of terrible episodes, but then they had that one good episode. We already know what it is, the Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki fight. And then that got voted anime of the year because of one episode, even though the rest of it was garbage and the whole community knows it. Imagine that. Because that's essentially what just happened right here. Ninja Kamui, the whole anime went to the shitter after the first episode. And they added mech suits and all sorts of other nonsense into that. So that completely fucked it up. But they had one good episode full of aura farming that the kids liked, so all of a sudden it wins it a war. Demon Slayer, the training Hashira arc, basically a whole bunch of nothing happening during that arc until the last episode. And then also aura farming, the animation looks pretty. Let's vote for that for best continuing series over Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War, and One Piece. And then we already know Solo Leveling, Season 1, had one good episode being obviously Igris versus freaking Sanjiru. The rest of it was pretty alright at best, but nothing crazy. But because of that one episode, and on top of that, the fact that Season 2 was also airing around that time, it won Anime of the Year, Best Character and all this. Like, it's so bad, bro. It's so bad.
Evident for a very long time. There's evidence to support this for a while, and it definitely, Glass Reflection and others in this tried to communicate that they have tried to actively fight back against that for years. But this year, it's very clear that everybody, a lot of content creators and everybody associated is speaking out about this, that this year's Anime Awards was very different.
Yeah, and like I watched a bunch of other people's reactions to the Anime Awards, and let me tell you, bro, there were so many people that were looking at the freaking people who are doing this crap and looking at like, what the hell was going on? Best continuing series, everybody was looking around like, what the fuck is going on? How did Demon Slayer win that over Bleach and One Piece? How the fuck did freaking Solo Leveling with only, one good song beat out Bleach with Shira going crazy? How did Solo Leveling get best character over Freeman and all he did was aura farm? There was nothing special about his character in Season 1 at all. Like, everybody was looking around looking crazy, and the only people who were glazing it were obviously the younger fans who only watched, I would assume, Igris versus Sanjay Wu fight, or probably were glazing it because of Season 2. Like, if you go into the Crunchyroll chat, even at one point, when Solo Leveling got an Anime of the Year, all you saw was L's, bro. Everybody was putting L's in that shit. Everybody knew Freerun had that on lock. Everybody knew Freerun had that on lock. Like when the whole anime community is out here telling you that you're wrong, bro, I'm sorry to say, bro. You're like, I don't know what to tell you.
Did not feel right. There was something off about them, and Solo Leveling sweeping like it did makes so much more sense now when you see this conversation and understand the insight behind the scenes. The judges nominated categories. They nominated what was on the Crunchyroll Awards. The different judges did. Over 100 judges, by the way, voted, or not voted, they nominated. Some might have voted, according to an anonymous source. But basically, what this shows us is that the public is what voted. And it was always going to be Solo Leveling as a victor for one big reason, and that is this evidence right here. The voting for the Anime Awards for the public, according to Glass Reflection, when, because a lot of judges didn't probably even get to vote, the Anime Awards opened on April 3rd, my birthday, by the way, and everybody could vote for the Anime of the Year. And if we look at the date of when Solo Leveling Season 2 ended, it ended on March 30th, 2025. Not even a week after it ended, we were getting voting for Anime of the Year. And I want to remind everybody that Solo Leveling Solo Leveling Season 2 was not in the categories. It was just Season 1 from
Yeah.
2024. So, regardless if that's true, like, you know, if people knew that or not, it was always going to win because the freshness of Solo Leveling was in people's minds for a very, or not for a very long time, just fresh in their minds because it ended a few days prior, that no wonder people would vote for Solo Leveling. It makes perfect sense.
And that went against Bleach and One Piece, especially if you're talking about best continuing series and best score or action too, anything like that. Because you gotta keep in mind, Bleach ended around January as far as the season. If I'm correct, I'm pretty sure Core 3 ended around January, and One Piece went on hiatus a little bit around that point as well. So it wasn't as fresh on everybody else's minds versus Solo Leveling Season 2, which basically was way better than Season 1, I might want to add. Way better moments. But better, basically, it ended in a time period to where it's fresh in everybody's mind that, yo, this anime looks really good right now, but you're not even voting on that. You're voting on Season 1, and people aren't taking that in condition at all. At all. Like, they're not taking that into any consideration at all. They basically said, "Oh, Solo Leveling." They didn't even. I bet majority of the people who voted didn't even look to see if it was Season 1 or Season 2. They just saw Solo Leveling and voted for it.
So, even if we put in the fact that the judges got to vote or not, it makes more sense now because of just how the awards were done this year. But let's get into the actual voting and nominees and what this actually means. So one thing I want to point out is that there is a lot of judges that participated in the Crunchyroll Anime Awards this year. Over 100. A lot of journalists, a lot of writers, a lot of content creators. But I noticed when I was looking at these different categories, there was a lot of big names, a part of major journalists and news sites and stuff that were a part of. Like this individual right here, he literally works with IGN. And I think anyone that knows how IGN is for reviews and stuff, I'm not saying he is a part of the problem of IGN. I'm not saying he's a bad writer or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we know how IGN is and how reviews and stuff have been and just opinion pieces and stuff that's been over the years. And it's very clear that a lot of these judges, most likely that have been involved in this judging process, probably don't watch a lot of anime. They probably only watch the mainstream stuff, and then they talk about that mainstream stuff because obviously that will get them the most clicks.
And he's not wrong either. And he's not wrong. Based on how the awards were going with this year specifically, it looked like the people who voted on it only voted on the anime that had that really, really one good episode. And that was it. Like the really hype episode that everybody was talking about. Like you could, once again, taking case in point. Once again, Ninja Kamui had one really good episode. Everybody loved it. You know, that was talked about for a while. You know, Solo Leveling, Sun Jinwoo versus Igris. Everybody loved it. And then Season 2 came came out afterwards and then did even better. So obviously that's going to get talked about more. Even though Season 2 wasn't the one getting voted on. Demon Slayer. The whole thing was quiet. And then the last episode came out. Everybody goes crazy. I feel like a lot of the people who did the judging on this probably took one episode that was really good that a lot of people liked and just went with it and said, yeah, that's anime of the year, or that's what needs to win the award. Like, these weren't actual... I can't say actual anime fans, because I can't, like, there's no, like, actual anime fans. Like, there's no discrimination when it comes to anime fans. But, like, I'm talking about, these aren't the people who go in depth with it. These are, like, surface level, where it's like, oh, you know, they'll watch the shit, you know, it's entertaining for them, but it's nothing deeper than that. I don't know how to say it without it sounding ridiculous, but like you guys get my point. Like it's one of those things where it's like they see what's good and what's popular, but they don't go any further than that. That's like as deep as they go. You know? That's kind of like that's how basically this got voted on in a nutshell. They saw what was popular in the moment and voted on that as it was.
And let's explain what that means. So, obviously, if you're already a news site and you're wanting to write an article about Crunchyroll's Anime Awards, what's going to get the most clicks? Well, obviously something that is the most popular, aka Solo Leveling. So why would anyone want to vote for something that is like underground, like Girls Band Cry, when they can vote for something like Soul Leveling, when obviously everybody will click on an article to talk about that instead of anything else? So there was clearly a lot of bias potentially put with the judges. I'm not saying this.
And hell, if you really want to go there, now that I think about it, now that he mentioned it, because of how popular solo leveling is, what do you think is going to get more clicks to Crunchyroll's website? If, like, you know, they put, yeah, nah, Bleach wasn't winning shit. The more I think about it, Bleach wasn't winning shit. Because Bleach will never win a Crunchyroll award. Never. It's just going to be there as a piece. The more I think about it, it's never winning a Crunchyroll award. You know why? Because it's not bringing traffic to the website. That's why. Because the more I think about it, it makes even more sense why Solo Leveling won this. Because now that it won Anime of the Year, guess what? People are gonna see that and basically be like, "Oh, it won Anime of the Year. It must be really good. So I need to go to Crunchyroll, subscribe, and give them my money so I can watch this." The more the more I think about this, bro, the more shady it actually gets. Like, there's definitely some money getting handed out somewhere in the middle of all this. There's no way there wasn't.
This happened, but this also leads to problems when you have just so many judges that are even outside of the anime community. And the way to fix this, honestly, is to lower the judge amount. There should be only like 10, 20 at most judges, and that is it. That is in this voting process.
And better yet, I would say the judges need to be people who've either worked on anime at some point or another, like either written an anime, like I'm talking mangaka, animators, people who actually judge anime like that for real. Like, that's the people who need to be doing this, not just like the common people, especially if we're talking about Anime of the Year. That's the people that we can have doing that. Now, we can have a subcategory, kind of like how they do with the Game of the Year, where it's the player's choice, where in this case it'd be the audience's choice of who they think got the anime of whatever category. Or like, you can have like audience's choice, basically, who, like, and have that category. You can have something like that so that the audience or the people, who just, maybe watch the mainstream stuff can vote on their favorite anime or whatnot. But Anime of the Year? Hell nah, bro. Anime of the Year needs to be voted on by people who actually watch or work on anime or just deep into the anime community, not the surface level. Because if the way that this is going right now, if things keep getting voted on at this point, the way that they're getting voted on, I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again where a new anime will come out or farm for a little while with one good episode and then disappear off the face of the earth. But because they had that one really good episode, they're going to win Anime of the Year again. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens because of how the way it's being judged at the moment. And once again, just based on the evidence that we have at the moment, right now, with what Crunchyroll, and it was already kind of implied anyways. Like the Crunchyroll Awards is basically, it's a joke at this point. Nobody should ever take it serious. If they were taking it serious before, this is your chance to be like, yeah, no, don't even bother. You should watch the Japanese version at this point. You should watch the Japanese version because obviously this isn't talking about Anime of the Year anymore. This is talking about what anime was more popular and got more clicks to Crunchyroll. It's not about the actual Anime of the Year.
Even if we disregard everything that we've already learned from this video clip. And the fact that you have over 100 judges deciding the categories, and once again, you know for a fact all these judges did not watch every anime. I don't expect them to, because there's like 200, 300 plus anime per year. But obviously, this is why you need to slim down the judge amount, and people that are just straight up dedicated to this, like completely dedicated, that will get a lot of anime out there and talk about it. And that's how you get stuff like this from previous years. This is a tweet that blew up considerably since the Crunchyroll Awards, showcasing the Anime of the Year victors ever since 2017 to 2025, and everybody notices it, the radical shift from 2020 to 2025, and how the categories became more focused on battle shonen.
Yeah, like, after 2019, 2020, when Demon Slayer was announced, it basically went from who's the best anime of the year to, okay, who aura farmed the most. Like, the only one out of that list that I'm looking at right now that actually deserved it was basically Attack on Titan. Because it didn't just have good action. It had a good story, had good writing, Like, Attack on Titan actually deserved it. But JJK swept twice in a row based on aura farming alone. Basically, Gojo won the anime for them. And then we just watched Solo Leveling do it. And hell, even the, well, actually, no, you know what? Cyberpunk Edge Runners, I think that was a good one too. It was like, okay, so you had Demon Slayer, then you had, that was all right. JJK swept, and then AOT was good. Cyberpunk Edge Runners was good, and then you had JJK again, and then Solo Leveling sweep. It was basically the Battle of the Aura Farming Awards again. That's all that was.
And just action animation. That's really what it was.
2021, 2024, and 2025 need to be changed.
We're never going to get a time period where anime like this ever wins, and the judges had a big deciding factor on probably why this happened in the first place. But regardless of that, what this comes down to, and the big takeaway is that there was just such poor communication on the end with the judges, to Crunchyroll and the fans and everything, that it resulted in the hot mess that we got, and why Solo Leveling swept as much as it did. It really is everything that people complain about. It was a popularity vote, nothing else. There was many different ways to handle this, and the fact that you have some judges saying they got a vote and some didn't is insane. Actually insane stuff. But yeah, I hope these three don't get in trouble. I mean, they're definitely probably not going to get, maybe brought back for judging.
So they're probably definitely not getting brought back for judging after exposing what they did, but at the end of the day, who wants to judge a show where it's based off of popularity and not on actually how good the anime is? Let's be real. I wouldn't mind. I'm going to be real. Shit, me personally, I would not care if I get invited to the Crunchyroll Awards if I knew about this. I would not care because the shit is a joke at that point. It is a joke. Holy crap.
For new anime awards for Crunchyroll, because obviously speaking out like this and how public it's now gotten,
it's over, bro.
I don't see Crunchyroll wanting to work with them probably in the future, but regardless if that happens or not, this is a nice insight. It is a very nice insight to what went wrong and just the big inherent problem. So to reiterate my points, what needs to happen is better communication from Crunchyroll, clearly, way better communication. We need to have earlier voting. I know that might be difficult because my anonymous source told me that trying to get voting out in January is incredibly difficult because of the holiday season and how Japan works. That's understandable, but there definitely needs to be something that is done. Because having results anime awards happen in March, especially having a series that was in the bracket that was, just ended, is not good. Because it brings recency bias. So it's a mix of a lot of things. That's the issue here. And anime's supposed to be celebrated, and this is definitely...
I'm not gonna lie, the most important thing here is that they need to lower the judge count and actually condense the judges into people who actually are deep, passionate into it. Like, they're not just watching the mainstream stuff, they're watching everything. Or they have some hand in making or creating anime in some form. Like, that's the kind of stuff we need for judges, especially if we're talking anime of the year. Like, bro, it's crazy out here. But it also confirms once again what we already knew, and that's that the Crunchyroll Awards is basically a popularity contest. But hey, it is what it is. I'm not gonna lie though, once again, I think I said it before though, I don't know why they keep putting Bleach up in there, because based off of what we know now especially, yeah, Bleach will never win a Crunchyroll award. Never. You know why? Because it's never gonna... Because even if it did win an award, guess what? The traffic would go to Hulu and Disney. It doesn't go to Crunchyroll, because Crunchyroll doesn't own Bleach anymore. So, Bleach will never win a Crunchyroll award. And I, at this point, stop putting Crunchyroll even... Stop putting Bleach Styles Your Blow on Crunchyroll, bro. The award show. Don't even put it there, because you're never gonna give it an award because it's not getting you money. You're never going to give it an award because it's not giving you money. You're just putting it there to get people to watch your show. That's all it is. That's all it was. They just basically put Bleach and One Piece up in there because they knew that Bleach and One Piece were big IPs. And because of that, people were going to watch. It was just to get people to watch. And One Piece should have won an award over... Like, if Bleach didn't win it, because we all knew Bleach wasn't going to win the Crunchyroll award, I would have preferred if One Piece won. Because there's no freaking way. But without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. It is what it is, but at least we know. Like, the shit is a joke. The shit is a joke. Like, And I'm just gonna go ahead and show you all this real quick. I'm gonna leave it off with this real quick. I'm just gonna leave it off with this real quick. So this is what Bleach Thousand Year Blood War had by the time Core 3 ended. 9.3 out of 10. 9.3 out of 10. Now, Solo Leveling Season 1. Solo Leveling Season 1, 8.5. I think the numbers speak for themselves, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say, man.